I want the dramatic crossing the finish line, just like I'm bleeding, the clock's winding down. I'm like, I'm crawling across it as it's going 3, 2, 1, and I like put my hand across the line.
You're just doing it for the cinema at this point.
Yeah, and I look up and I'd be like, please tell me someone got that for B-roll for the next podcast.
I heard that ChatGPT is now like able to search the internet, because basically all their answers up until now, at least for the free version, has been like only based on information from 2021.
Yeah.
So if you asked it something that was like never happened prior to 2021, it would be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm a baby.
Yeah, basically.
I have no knowledge. Goo goo. Gaga.
Yeah. Aw, so cute. A little tech baby.
Yeah, that's going to destroy the world. But
yeah.
So now it knows everything. Like everything, pretty much.
I think it's still in the works, but it just like, I don't know if it needed to get like cleared or if it just needed the ability to do this. But yeah, I know that it now is working on that, and I guess should be released at least for purchase. Hopefully for free soon.
Do you think?
How else will I do this podcast? Don't they know that ChatGPT does the whole podcast for us?
Including hosting it. I haven't hosted a single podcast.
I just read off of a script.
Yeah, I've just asked it. I've asked it to create a hologram of me 6 months ago, and I actually haven't. I haven't been talking to my girlfriend. I haven't been texting my family back. It's just a Chat GPT, Zach GPT. I don't have to deal with any of that bullshit anymore.
I actually murdered you like the first time we met, and now it's just been a hologram of you.
So. Do you think that's going to be a thing? Do you think that it will take longer for police to find out if people are murdered in the future because AI will be so widespread, deep fakes will be so widespread? You could just get the person's voice and have them call back their aunt who left a message or their brother, and they go, "Oh, he's still alive." Like there's no, like they're not even thinking that he's dead because he's just responding to all the texts in that person's voice, calling in that person's voice, doing deepfake videos, like posting to Instagram. And meanwhile, they've been dead for 2 years and nobody knows.
That's a long time. I think that's possible for specific people. Like there are people that are already pretty off grid that I think if you murdered them, you could get away with it for a while by doing that.
Yeah.
I think other people, I think you'd probably be able to tell that it wasn't the actual person that you were speaking to. But I guess also, I always think that if AI is going to be advanced enough for a criminal to like impersonate people, then it's also probably advanced enough for the police and whatever else to crack the case. Right? That's what we hope. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. That's if the police and the criminals have access to the same AI.
I would assume the police have more access. They probably are using tech that we don't. I mean, speaking of, New York City just unveiled this robot. This is not one of my stories today, but there's a robot now patrolling the subway. It probably combusted today because it's flooding here in New York City today. Not safe weather for a robot at all to be out in.
I'm going to pour some out for all my Brooklyn homies, both robotic and human. So I hope everyone's doing well in the flooding.
New York City.
Yeah, all of New York City
and Jersey. Yeah, it's just bad up here. But pour one out. I've seen a lot of poor souls swimming to work. Literally, I did see a video of someone swimming. I've seen so many videos of people like clinging to like street poles and stuff. And I'm always like, what's the plan there? Like, are you just gonna cling there for 24 hours before the water?
It's a good workout for forearms, for core strength. You just like
Yeah.
that's why I'm jealous whenever I see those tsunami videos where people are just hanging from the
Oh,
trees
yeah.
above it because I'm like, look at like they're getting such a great workout.
Yeah.
I wish I was just able to work out like that in nature, but the city is
Yeah.
just you got to hang on to a stoplight, you got to hang on to scaffoldings,
Mhm.
but at least people are getting a pump in as they're waiting to be rescued and
Yeah.
ultimately don't die of I was about to say die of starvation, but that's not how you die from a flood. Die of
I mean,
water.
they could if they cling there long
Yeah,
enough.
yeah,
They might starve.
your muscles are starved for protein. But
That's funny. It's like, don't you just wish that you could be put in a life or death situation for a good adrenaline workout? Wouldn't that be so nice?
we should make a workout app like that. We should invent an app
Yeah.
where it's like,
Yeah,
all
like
right,
a VR style or something where
yeah,
it's like you are going to die
or VR
or
for
real
yeah, I was gonna say VR for people that are pussies, and then real life for people that are like
4D.
we like give us access to everyone and everything in your life. Give us all your passwords, all your relationships, and then 3 to 4 times a week for 30 to 60 minutes, we will make you think that you or someone in your life is going to die. And the only way
Wow.
you can get out of it is by doing a vigorous workout.
That seems like a great idea. I think we're going to make a lot of money off of that.
Yeah. Like
I
some
can imagine a lot of people want to sign up.
like a working mom signs up for it and someone just comes and kidnaps her daughter. She gets a call and she's like, I'll give you anything. And like, how much do you want? And they're like, 17 miles. And she's like, what? I thought, did you not
Yeah.
want money? And he's just like, no, 17 miles now. You have 4 hours, go. And you just have to start, you will leave immediately. Like there's
Yeah.
no delay. You can't put it off anymore.
Yeah. I don't think it would. Yeah, I guess. I would have to ask Demi how long it would take. I don't think that long I mean, for a runner. Obviously, I'm not a runner. And that
Neither am I.
mom
As we're
is
both drinking
probably not a
seltzers.
runner.
As we're both drinking seltzers
Yeah.
at 3
I'm not even
p.m.
drinking that. I'm drinking a beer, which is worse than a seltzer. It's 4 p.m. my time. Okay,
Mm,
let's get that clear. So I'm 1 hour early to happy hour. Well, most happy hours start at 3 in New York.
yeah. Well,
So
I'm 2 hours away from being an alcoholic and you're only one. So you're in a lot better position than me.
yeah, it's Friday.
Yeah.
We're here to
How,
have a good
so
time. I'm here to have a good
here's a
time.
question. How
Okay.
long do you think Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
How long do you think that or what do you think is the max workout that Demi would do to save your life if she signed up for the app and then you got kidnapped at work, someone called her and said, Demi, we have Sam, using that vocoder.
hmm
Demi, we have Sam. You need to give us four
Yeah.
400 miles
Oh my God.
of swimming
Oh
and
no.
and 8 million push-ups. Do you think she would just hang up immediately or like would she
With
try to
that,
do it?
with
Yeah.
okay. With that, she would hang up immediately. Well, yeah, with her, she's not answering the phone, so she's never going to get the call.
Yeah.
But if we're being realistic and we set like kind of realistic but crazy, but still realistic things that you are capable of doing, I think, yeah, I feel comfortable saying she would definitely do great in like a survivalist situation, like super hard workout to save my life, I think.
Okay, so a top time to finish the marathon, like the best of the best, is somewhere around 2 hours. So let's
Oh
double that.
man.
Let's say 20 every 4 hours you have to run 25 miles. So
Mhm.
let's say in one day, so that's 16 hours. That's about the amount of time you're awake. Let's say Demi had to run 100 miles in 24 hours. Do you think
Mhm.
that she would pull it off? Or do you think that halfway through she'd just be like, look, I love Sam, but these calf cramps are insane?
So I'm looking up like what the pace that is because this would be the first thing she would do. She genuinely would calculate like what pace do I have to go at to get this done. So
Smart.
to run about a little bit less, than a 24-hour 100 miler. You need to hold a pace of, that's not bad, only 14.24 seconds per mile. She
That's
could do
like
that.
that's like a
It's
very
hard for
slow
the
jog.
long time. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like a comfortable mile run, but
no
for 100
sleep.
miles that's a lot.
Yeah.
I think she would try her best, actually. I genuinely think that she would.
Yeah. And then
Can you
she'd
say
be
the same? Would you do that for me?
I would so I love sleep, and
Yeah.
I would take a little bit more of an aggressive approach. I would
Okay.
say I 100% want to record Breaking Take 16. I don't want that to be out of the
Mm-hmm.
question.
Gotcha.
So in the back of my mind, I'd be like, look, I don't want to screw up my week because then I'm not going to have as much energy to record the next episode. So I want to get a good amount of sleep, and I also want to save Sam. So I'm going to take 6 hours. Let's say I'll take 5 hours sleep. Actually, no, let's do 6. That's 18 hours to run 100 miles. That's probably like around 10 minutes. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I could run half of that, sleep for 3 hours, and then another half, and then sleep for 3 hours. And it
Wow.
would be like down to the wire. Like it would be the closest thing I've ever done. And it would
Yeah.
also be an adrenaline rush for you too, because your kidnappers would probably have
Yeah.
trackers and be like, "Oh, he's like 2 seconds off the time. Like he needs to pick it up,
Yeah.
or
And
else."
what I imagine me literally being like tied to like a stake or something,
Yeah,
where it's like I'm going to just like be set ablaze
yeah.
as the clock winds down.
And don't forget, you paid for this because you signed up for the app. So
Yeah.
like all the things that the kidnappers are doing to you, they could always just be like, "Hey, listen, you signed up for the $49.99 a month. Like, I don't know what you what you want us to do.
If you
You
die, you
chose
die.
this." Yeah,
Yeah. No, I think I feel good in my relationship. I think Demi would try her best.
yeah.
But if
I
I died, I died. I think she'd be like, I tried my best,
I think
you know?
I think she would too. She definitely take more of the analytical high percentage approach just because she's way smarter than I am. And I would be like, I want the dramatic, like crossing the finish line, just like I'm bleeding, the clock's
hmm
winding down. I'm like, I'm crawling across it as it's going 3, 2,
Wow.
1, and I like put my hand across the line.
You're just doing it for the cinema
I'm
at
doing
this point.
it. Yeah, and I look up and I'd be like, please tell me someone got that for B-roll for the next podcast. That's our intro.
It's an interesting approach that you had because I know if I fall asleep, like, I don't know. I just feel like my legs would not want to run anymore. If I had just run such a long distance and now I need to like take a nap and get back up and continue my journey, like there's no way that my legs are going to be interested in moving after that.
Yeah, I would understand. I mean, as they're slicing into my throat, just completing the beheading, I
Yeah,
would go like, look, I totally respect
I get
that.
it.
I sometimes I don't even like to nap too close to a podcast because I don't want to feel groggy. So
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine having to run another 40, 50 miles, whatever it is. So I just be like,
yeah.
yeah, I understand.
I'm glad you could understand.
Yeah.
Such an understanding man you are.
Yeah. Look, but you know what? Welcome to Breaking Takes, everyone. Hey guys, this is a quick break in the episode to tell you about Breaking Takes Premium, where we will be dropping monthly bonus episodes and allowing you to become part of the show.
For $5 a month, you will get access to bonus episodes, that's audio and video, be able to suggest topics and stories for us to give our takes, AMAs, minisodes, and more.
Head to breakingtakes.supercast.com to sign up for Breaking Takes Premium today. That's breakingtakes.supercast.com for full bonus access.
And if you aren't able to sign up for premium, that's okay, because if you still want to support the show, you can rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Seriously, the more ratings are such a big help when it comes to new listeners discovering the show, because it tells the algorithm to push us higher in the search results. So the more reviews and ratings, the better.
We'll also read the comments that you leave on Apple Podcasts and give you a shout out at the end of each show. So get creative, leave us some badass comments. Now, back to the episode.
Welcome, everybody. Like we said, it's Friday. It's flooding in New York City. I hope you're okay. And we are going to break down some news, give you our takes. Have a good time.
Absolutely. Yes. And, speaking of buildings in New York, someone's been doing some shady shit recently. And,
Okay.
some people may still say he's the president. A lot of people don't believe that. But Donald Trump defrauded banks and insurers while building his real estate empire. And it seems like things are coming tumbling down for the big guy. It's getting,
Yeah.
kind of spicy for him.
It does seem that way. I saw a video of them taking the like lettering down from Trump hotels or something. I think he has Trump Tower and Trump Hotel,
Yeah.
correct?
He has
Okay.
Trump Tower, Trump Hotel. And so this is coming from AP News. So a judge ruled yesterday, or well, now it's 2 days ago, that Donald Trump committed fraud for years while building the real estate empire that catapulted him to fame and the White House. And he ordered some of the former president's companies removed from his control and dissolved, which explains the taking down the letters and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Judge Arthur Angoron, ruling in a civil lawsuit brought by New York Attorney General Letitia James, found that Trump and his company deceived banks, insurers, and others by massively overvaluing his assets and exaggerating his net worth on paperwork used in making deals and securing loans. So he has been lying and exaggerating shit for years, and now it's catching up to his real estate empire, which used to be the one untouchable thing about him.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the only untouchable thing. He's a touchy guy.
In more ways than
It's
one.
yeah.
He likes to
Likes
touch a
to
lot.
grab things. He likes to touch
Yeah, he likes
things.
to get.
He's very into physical affection.
He'd
I
be a
definitely know his love language.
he'd be the last person you want to get kidnapped by, because he'd just be like slowly just like stroking you, just like with his hands, going like, this is the greatest kidnapping ever, this is huge for
rubbing
me.
his fingers through your hair.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
Calm down, she's coming for you. So my thing is, like, politicians lie all the time, and this is no different. So shouldn't Trump get an award for this? Because it's like he's doing what politicians do anyway. He's like completely lying about his investments. He's completely lying about just like everything else, and this is just an extension of that. It's another thing. So like for me, I could almost see this as like if you were going to have a politician award show, where this is like the best picture of the year for politicians, where it's like Trump's, like, get this, Trump's not only been lying since he was a politician, but since he made his first investment in real estate over 3 decades ago, he's been pulling this shit off. He's done Celebrity Apprentice, like all this shit. He's like the Oscars of politicians. So I feel like if they were truly honoring what it means to be a politician in the United States, they should just be like, look, you got us. Like, yeah, you'll suffer the consequences, but also here's this golden statue because you've done a lot.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea. It's kind of like, I believe they're called the Razzies, where it's really bad. Like they get awards for having like the worst movie of the year
Yeah.
and things like that. I think, we have the Nobel Prize. We should have like an not Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
And that's basically it, where it's like the Nobel Prize awards people doing great things to change the world, and the not Nobel Prize is stuff like that, where it's like who did the most ludicrous thing, staged an event, lied, stole money, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
I mean, yeah, this dude is lying about his investments. He lied about the election. He's banging porn stars. Like, he's living the politician's dream. Like, if you were to say, like, if you were to change jobs with politicians for a day, like they used to have that TV show where you just like swap jobs with someone and you have to do their
Yeah.
job for a day. If you were to change jobs with a politician, you would basically get to do all that if you change jobs for long enough. So I feel like he is just exposing like what is all like part of me is like I feel like people are so happy to indict him because every other politician is like, get him, but like, don't look at my shit. Like, this is it.
Totally.
This
Oh,
is it.
yeah.
This is it. Please, like, just take him to
Yes.
jail and lock him away. And like, the political system is good. Like, we don't need you looking any further.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's absolutely happening. And why not, right? Like, if I'm them, which thankfully I'm not, if I'm a person that's like doing fucked up shit in politics, I'm loving what's happening with Trump right now.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, go look over there while I sex this 15-year-old, I guess.
Yeah. While I'm reading these the Trump headlines on a private jet of my island full of boys,
Yeah.
I'm just like on the runway taking off to Boys Island, and I'm just like, yes, attention is off me. It's on
No,
Trump.
it's that is absolutely happening. I also I just think it's like with Trump, it's like he boy bossed too close to the sun, you know? He was living the good life before he became president. He was pretty beloved in a way. I mean, in a way that he was never the most cuddly guy, but in a way that we enjoyed him as like if he rolled up to the bar, we'd all be like, "Yo,
Yeah.
like you're fired," you know? And now he just like lost all his money. I mean, I don't know how much money he has because he lies about it, so I don't know how
Yeah.
much money he lost. I don't know the start point, the end point, any of that, but yeah, it's not going well. He probably should have just like stayed on TV chilling.
Yeah, his mistake. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. His mistake was leaving the entertainment industry
Yeah.
and trying to go into politics because the politicians were like, "We're next level liars. Like, you think you've been
Yes.
lying on Celebrity Apprentice and lying hanging around rappers? Like, we will end you. Like, we lie about what like we have islands, we have people killed, we like we do just like shit that no one would even dream that politicians are
Yeah.
doing. And like Trump is thinking that they're like, I think what Trump did to most politicians is adorable to them. They're like, oh, that's like so cute. He lied about his income. Like that's like the cutest thing in the world. And they're just like on their 37th mistress on some island somewhere
Yeah.
with just like they have plans to literally take over the world. They're like,
Mhm.
fuck the president of the United States. Like, I'm gonna bring the world together and lead the entire thing. Like, we're poisoning the water supply of the entire world so I can take over.
Yeah. I also think when I saw some of this, I couldn't help but think about his kids because I would be so pissed if my dad just ruined my inheritance like that.
Oh,
So I can't imagine the family dinners are that great anymore.
oh yeah, because I would love to be at that dinner. Have you seen the show Succession?
I have not. I'm sleeping on that.
So I won't say anything specific to ruin it because it is a great show and I'm sure a lot of people have watched it.
But I know it's about rich people and their succession planning.
Yeah, so there are a lot of conversations in Succession that are kind of like that vibe where you're
Mhm.
sitting around the table at Thanksgiving dinner and everyone is trying to figure out what their inheritance is without directly asking how much am I going to get when you die. Just like rich kid
Yeah.
shit, like only the type of conversations you could only have with your parents if your parents were worth $100 million. And so
Yeah.
it's just like all of these kids competing around the dinner table, and then the parents go away, and then the kids go into a room and they're like, look, don't ruin this for me, fuckface. I'm taking over dad's company. Like, this is mine. I'll give all you guys. I feel like this is the type of shit that Trump's kids
Yeah.
were having. Like they were having these conversations like, look, Hunter's or I was thinking of Hunter Biden. I'm like, he's a whole different story, whole different family,
Yeah.
whole different family, same concept.
We've gone down that
Yeah,
boat or gone down that route as well.
But Donald Trump, I mean, I'm sure there's someone in Trump's family who does crack. They just haven't been outed yet.
Oh, for sure.
I would if I was them.
I
Why
think
not?
Don Jr. has been caught doing coke.
Oh yeah,
It's the just casual thing.
yeah, 100%.
Totally normal.
And why not? Why at that point he thought he was good for life. Don Jr., Ivanka, like everyone in that family was just like ready to have those conversations where it's like, okay, look, dad's not doing so well. This is what he's leaving us. I'm going to get, 620 mil. You're going to get like, it'll all be divvied up to where none of our kids have to work. And now the dinner table is much more like, which companies are we selling off? What can we salvage?
Yeah.
Like they're just like fucking like scoundrels at each other trying to like dig up the like, because you don't like, no one knows what it's like to work. Like no one wants to be the one in Trump's family
No.
or any presidential family that like has to wake up and go to a hardware store and like sell screws. Like no one, they'd rather kill themselves. Yeah. To them, like they get up on the podium and they talk about like, oh my God, I respect the 9-to-5 average American worker. And then behind the scenes, they're just like, oh my God, if I had to work in a grocery store, I would hang myself. And like, that's a reality for them now.
Yeah, no, that is very true. I'm just fascinated. And I kind of, towards the end of his presidency, I felt saw, like when it was pretty apparent that he was losing the election and, he was kind of just throwing shots in the dark, basically, at that point. We kind of saw, like, especially between his daughter, is it Ivanka or Ivana? Ivanka.
I think he treats them just the same. He's like, "Well, it's my daughter, it's my wife. I'm sexually attracted to both of them."
No, that I mean, we've seen that. He's like, my
Melania.
daughter. So
Ivanka's the daughter, Melania's the wife.
Yes. Well, so yeah, but we have seen Trump be a little too into his daughter before, which is, if I'm her, I'm like, this is at what line? Like, where do I like run and scream? But yeah, I'm just wondering, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall kind of towards that period with the family. And then now it's just like, I hope one day we really get a bit of a tell-all, which will probably still be a lot of fabrications within. But I would love to hear from like the kids and really see, like, I stand with Barron Trump. I bet Barron, I have faith in you to get older and spill some tea for us.
What's his vibe again? He's the younger one.
He's the youngest. He's still legally a child. He's like 8 feet tall. So we have hope, though, that like maybe when he gets older, he can spill some tea for us.
I mean, I feel like if he does, he'll just instantly get killed. Like before he drops the tell-all book of the Trump, because like the Trump administration, is also tied to other deep state secrets, presidency, CIA, Epstein, stuff like that. I feel like if Barron is smart, he'll take, like, sure, his inheritance just went from 500 million to like maybe 10 million. Like, they're still going to be fine. He'll just take that money and go live in Spain for the rest of his life and shut the hell up and not say anything. If he gets too involved, people in suits will come for him and say, we'll give you one chance. But if you get a step closer to releasing this book, we'll give you the private chef for Obama treatment. You'll drown in a 3-foot pond if you get what we're saying.
It can happen, even though he's 8 feet tall.
yeah, you're 8 feet tall, but you'll drown in a bathtub, and we'll make it look believable.
Yeah, completely. No, I mean, fair enough. yeah, I'm just curious to see, like, New York is always one of the best places to be with Trump involved stuff. So
Yeah.
I am curious to see how it all goes down furthermore. And I mean, he has to like go to trial eventually, right? This stuff, we have the right to a speedy trial. It's never speedy.
Do we
So
want?
we might hear from him like 3 years from now.
Yeah, I hope it's televised. I hope to God it's like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. I hope we get a good
Yeah.
sort of just lens inside the courtroom, give us the dirty details.
Yeah, that trial was crazy. I watched the documentary about Johnny and Amber, which was
Mm.
also fascinating. It's a sidebar conversation, but
Oh,
also very interesting.
we'll do a premium episode on that for sure. We'll
Yeah.
we'll break down that Netflix series. Do you want to hear some of the evaluations that Trump was
Yeah.
giving specifically
I
on
would
what
love
his
that.
stuff was worth?
Great.
So Trump claims that his Trump Tower penthouse. So it's a nice apartment. Like obviously it's a Trump Tower penthouse, but like we're not talking about a building here. We're still talking about an individual apartment. He said his Trump Tower penthouse was first nearly 3 times its actual size. He lied and said it was triple the size, and he valued it at $327 million
Okay.
for a penthouse.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot for the A-list houses that you see on the Hamptons beaches
Yeah.
or in Malibu. I don't know if I've seen a $327 million house before. Like that is insane.
No.
Let alone an apartment.
Yeah, I'd say like a more normal number for like a really nice house would be like 37 million or
Yeah.
something. But
Yeah.
and then mind you, this is a penthouse. Granted, it's probably feels like a house in there.
Yeah. My question is, at what point are the banks to blame? Because
Right.
I assume he was going to like this has been happening for decades, and he's had relationships with these banks. He's been every time he needs a loan, he'll go back to the bank and say, "Hey, this is what my assets are worth," and then they go, "Okay, we'll loan you the money at this rate because we trust you because you're worth a shit ton of money based on what you say." When the person at the bank saw the apartment that Trump had and he put down the number 327 million and we're like, yeah, that sounds right. Like that sounds good for a New York City apartment. At what point
Totally
are you
normal.
like, who's worth? Like, he had to have someone on the inside for these banks that would just
Yeah.
give him a green check. Like it was absurd shit. Like he was valuing Mar-a-Lago. I forget the exact amount, but for that house, it was less than, because I think it was like about avoiding taxes with Mar-a-Lago. So he said Mar-a-Lago was like 18 million or something when it was like
Okay.
over $100 million. It had like a golf
Mhm.
course and everything. So like, at what point is the bank going to step in and be like, hey, no other apartment in this building is worth more than $10 million. And you're saying that yours is 327 million. We need to, go investigate.
No, you're right. You pointed out a good point there that somebody's at fault. It was probably like an intern,
Yeah.
some intern that was like, it seems normal.
Yeah.
But it's funny that it's like these things slip through the cracks, but like, God forbid I try to write off my internet bill too much on my taxes every year. Like,
Yeah.
they come knocking on my door, but Trump can say he has a $400 million penthouse that absolutely doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah. Politicians talk all this shit about taxing the rich and lowering the taxes for middle class. And then the government will come out and be like, we're watching every single transaction that's $600 or less. And it's like, who do you think is like, rich people don't make $600 like they're dealing with wire transfers in the millions of dollars. And it's like they're haggling over Venmos and Wi-Fi bills and all these things where
Yeah.
it's just like a normal person's like, all right, look, I lied, but it was $14. The
Yeah.
government's gonna survive.
America really amazes me. Like
Yeah.
the things that we can do, the
Yeah.
things that we're capable of in this country by like stating something like that and getting away with it. And he would have gotten away with it If it wasn't for those meddling kids, no.
Yeah.
If he didn't become president, probably.
If he just stayed with the rappers, that is what he's gonna look back on as the greatest mistake of his life. Is he had Celebrity Apprentice, he was in every rap video. He was either being talked about or being featured in rap video. Like everyone was like, "I want to be Donald Trump. I want to get rich as fuck." And he could have rap is about lying.
He could have died a hero.
Yeah, every rapper.
And instead, now what?
Yeah, every rapper's like, I caught 32 bodies, and it turns out I went to prep school, and they're like holding fake money in music videos, and Trump fit right into that. And then he had to go he had to mess with people who not only lie, but they're used to outing liars that they don't like. So they all got together and were like, he's
they know the system better.
Yeah.
They've been working. I mean, we see some of the relics in politics. These people have been working in the system since they came out the womb. They've been there for 85 years.
Nancy Pelosi could have any person on the planet killed in less than 120 seconds. I look at her. She and I respect it. That's not even talking shit.
She does look like a businesswoman.
Yeah. It's not even talking shit. I respect it. She makes a call and there's nothing you can do. And what's done is done. Do you think if Trump was lying about his real estate, if he was saying that a $30 million apartment was worth $327 million, do you think that was leaking out, that affinity for lying in other parts of his life, where he would just pull out his dick in front of a hooker and be like, that's what 13 inches looks like right there. And the hooker's like, yeah, that's 13 inches. Well, we
literally just got a taste of that when he took himself to jail. And he said he was 215 pounds. And if
Did he
you
really?
Yes, he said he was 250 pounds. And if
50 or 15?
15,
15.
A teen.
Okay.
If you look up, everybody do me a favor, look up Bryce Harper. He is the same height as Donald Trump and also 215 pounds. And that's all you need to know who's lying. And Bryce Harper, if you don't know, he's an athlete. He's a very famous baseball player that played for the Nationals and now is over with the Phillies. And he is a very handsome man with a great physique. And just something tells me that an athlete is probably logged in at the right height and weight. And he probably doesn't do that himself, whereas Trump self-reported that he was 215 pounds.
Well, I will say that muscle can be deceiving because muscle weighs so much more than fat. So if Bryce Harper, if he wasn't as ripped, he might look if you take someone who's the same height as Bryce Harper, but you make them 20% body fat or 25% body fat, but they weigh the same. So Bryce Harper's probably, let's say he's 10% body fat. Let's take someone who's 25, 30% body fat. The person who's 25, 30% body fat could look like they weigh more than Bryce Harper. But if you weigh them, they might weigh around the same just because muscle weighs so much more than fat. Their body, no doubt Trump's body composition is probably close to 50% fat. He's you look at him from the side and he looks like a pear. And
that's why I'm saying I appreciate your
do you think he's heavier?
Support.
Do you think he's heavier or lighter?
Absolutely. Trump is he's more, he's not absurdly more, but I'm did you mean to write 275? Because Trump is tall also. I mean.
What is Trump, 6'3"?
Yeah, 6'3", I think. Let me fact check.
If I had to guess, I would have said
6'3".
I would say 230 because he doesn't have a lot of muscle, but he has a lot of fat. But again, the guy, there are some guys where it's you look at them and they're shredded and you're like, holy shit, how does this guy weigh 225? And it's because
you're actually pretty right. So I just also Googled, so confirmed he's 6'3", But I also Googled, just in general, how much does he weigh? Obviously, he stated he was 215 pounds. I don't think that's true just by looking at him. I mean, I just don't think that's true. But it says that in 2018, he reported as 243 pounds. But there
That
was
sounds
also in
more right.
2016, he reported that it was 236 pounds. So that
Yeah.
sounds about right.
Yeah. Also, if you're Trump,
In some ways, I don't blame him, though, on that. I was thinking more about that, and I'm like, are you really going to, like, self-report that you're, like, fat?
yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like, I'm probably going to lie about this.
Oh, yeah. If I'm not getting weighed at the doctor and the doctor asks me what I weigh, I'm just going to be like, what's a round? Like, no one, when they get asked what they weighed, is ever like 183. It's always around, it's just like 180, 185, 190. Because it's just like, what sounds good? And Trump was probably like 215. Like, that's like a sturdy. I need to like fucking PR the shit out of this right now.
He's like, I should just shave. Like, he's not great with numbers, as we know. He reported his penthouse was like $300 million. I think he was like, I think Trump just guesstimates everything. Everything just goes, 215 pounds.
If you're already lying that much, though, about other parts of your life, why not just lean into it and look the guy weighing him in straight in his face and go 185 and not flinch.
And the officer has to do like everything not to just like their eye probably twitched a little bit. Like, yes.
And Trump's
Mr.
like,
President.
What? 185. Write it the fuck down right now or I'll have you killed. 185.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? I don't think his weight really matters. I just thought that was funny. And now we know he's just not very good with numbers.
Yeah.
Maybe he can't even read. I mean, who knows?
He'll bring it up in the trial. He'll find a way to bring up his weight. Like in his opening statement, he'll make his lawyer write in on, September 14th when Trump was arrested at a solid 215 pounds. And the judge is like, what the fuck does that have to do with the opening statement?
He like walks in like WWE style, like, and coming in at 215 pounds.
He's got a belt over his right shoulder.
Yeah. No, that would be like fun.
Putting his hand to his ear.
It's like a pay-per-view event.
Yeah.
And I'm paying to view that event. Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I think what the world needs is just more healing. And I think we might have a resolution or a good start. So I know you have girl brain.
Yes,
so
I do.
Tell me, you must know, because this girl brain and boy brain have collided with the new love story of America.
Yes.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Are we talking about T Swift and T Kelce?
Yes. So the world is healing. So I don't have a source for this, people. I just have eyes. I'm just seeing the love in the air between Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. So we all know who Taylor Swift is. If you don't, I want to study you. But if you don't know who Travis Kelce is, he's a tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs football team. They also just won the Super Bowl. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champ. And he's a very good football player. He's also a pretty handsome guy, I would say. I mean, he looks like a football player. If you envision a handsome football player that's not a quarterback, I think Travis Kelce is literally the poster of that.
Oh yeah, he's got like the buzz cut. He's got the frame. Like he's just a solid. He just looks like a tight end. Like that. It's just he was born to be what he is.
Exactly. So they are dating. I think that's confirmed now because there have been pictures, and Taylor showed up to Travis's game this past Sunday. I think it was in Kansas City. And I just wanted to basically read off some facts about this because I'm constantly shocked at how intense the Taylor Swift army is and just like how much power she holds in society. So Taylor Swift just got finished her Eras tour. That tour, she went to 146 destinations and it grossed over $1 billion in sales.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yes. And so that's a lot of destinations. And I looked up the set list. The set list is over 3 hours long with 44 songs played. So like you're getting what you paid for at least. Like you're getting a event, a spectacle. And she often has a lot of guests that come, but 44 songs, like that's insane that she's even able to do that.
That makes the price, you're right, it does make the price seem more feasible then. Because I remember I was in Denver for a wedding when Taylor Swift was in Denver this summer, and you could overhear girls talking in the hotel. Like it was fucking packed. And I think like I was hearing absurd numbers thrown around, like $600, $1,200. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like who the fuck pays that for a concert? I still wouldn't pay it unless, it would have to be just like some, actually, I don't know. Like I've heard people say that T Swift has ruined concerts for them because now every other concert just seems so blah. Like it's just compared to T Swift, it's just like T Swift is here and everyone else is just down here.
Yeah, I mean, and more power to them. I'm still just like I said, grappling with like the fact that she's this powerful, and just to prove that further, I think there are a lot of Chiefs fans around the nation that are like bandwagoner fans. Just because they're a good football team. Patrick Mahomes, like one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
But so that game versus the Chicago Bears got 24.3 million views and jumped 63% the female viewer rate of between 18 and 49 years old. So that's a huge spike in views and a huge spike in female viewership.
Yeah.
Since then, there was a 400% spike in Travis Kelce jerseys. The Kelce podcast, I don't know if it's called that, actually. I just know Travis Kelce has a brother, Jason Kelce, who also plays in the National Football League for the Philadelphia Eagles. They host a podcast together. It ranked number 1 on Apple Podcasts all week. If you looked right underneath that, you'll see Breaking Takes ranked at number 2.
Of course. And then Joe Rogan at 3.
Exactly. Travis Kelce gained upwards of 500,000 Instagram followers just in like that day, basically.
What? How many did he have before?
I actually don't know. I didn't look that part up. Let's see.
I bet he was maybe at like the high 100,000s, like a 600,000 or 700,000.
Maybe a million at like the most, you know.
But still,
so now he has 3.6 million followers now.
And that's today. So like
that's currently.
Wow. So post T Swift, he's added 1 million plus, like since the news has broke.
I would say.
Yeah. Insane.
Yeah, and so there was a 3 times increase in the Google search of Chiefs and a 3 times increase in Chiefs ticket sales on StubHub. In fact, the Chiefs sold more tickets in a single day than they have in general since the start of the season. So those are just some stats there, basically, to let you know how insanely powerful Taylor Swift is.
Wow.
And I think it's come full circle. Like, actually one of Taylor's like first songs, you were singing it like another episode ago.
Was it I Don't Know About You?
She's cheer captain and I'm on the bleachers. You know that? Yeah, you're a backup singer. I forgot.
Yeah, I do like a lot of the phrasings. I don't get the words. Yes, that was me in the background shaking my ass. That was the large black woman.
So I think this is healing the world because Taylor Swift basically has always proclaimed to be like the dorky girl. And if you have seen any footage of her when she was like young, that is not a lie. She was the epitome of a homeschooled kid that also, I use this term lightly for my horse people out there. But she gave me horse girl energy, which is a very
Mm,
specific. I'm happy to go into horse girl energy, but do
I'm
you know
gonna
what I
need you
mean by
to
horse girl energy? Okay.
like she looked like a horse.
No. So horse girl energy is just like there's a specific breed of people that are into like equestrian stuff, and they all have, and maybe it's just because I grew up like in the country. I am not a horse girl. I did not have horses on my farm, but there's just a specific thing about horse girls because their
Mm,
whole life revolves around a horse. And so they just are different. They typically have long hair, like their fashion is very interesting. Um and just I don't know, like I think if you probably Urban Dictionary like horse girl, you'd probably get a good vibe of what I'm saying, but
yeah.
they're usually just kind of awkward people that connect better with their horse than they do with other humans.
Mm. That's good that you
So,
clarified because I had
yeah.
heard that in a TV show, and
Yeah.
my mind immediately went to horse girl. This girl doesn't look like a horse, like not
Yeah.
that much at least. So I was wondering why. Like I didn't
You're like,
even know
I
that
could
was a
kind of
thing.
see it, but
Like so because like someone who has a personality like a dog girl, I would have been like, oh, she likes dogs. But a horse girl,
yeah.
I'd never heard that before. Like a girl who likes horses. Okay.
Yeah. So I watched there was a documentary of her that came out a few years ago on Netflix that I think on Netflix that I watched, and you got a lot of footage from her as like a young teen, and she just like had zero social skills. Definitely was the weird girl in school, and that kind of is what like her origin story is. So now here we are all these years later. She's like one of the she arguably is the most successful pop star in the modern day. She's probably a
Yeah.
billionaire. And also, she's pretty hot now. Like, did you see any of the pictures of her at the football game?
I saw her screaming in the booth. It kind of looked like she was getting excited about a touchdown. And I saw the
Yeah.
one where she was putting her arm around Travis Kelce. Pretty hot,
Yeah. Yeah, she
hot
looked
stuff.
great. She was
She's
up there in the booth with his mom and family and friends. And she's just like, everyone is saying, like, oh, she was just so nice. She was drinking beer. Like, she chest bumped people when they were getting points. Like, she just seems like the coolest girl next door. So
mm,
I think this is healing the world because all that she wanted when she was a little dorky horse homeschool girl was to be loved by the football star. And now here she is after all these years. She is now mega hot, mega rich, and she has her football boyfriend. And
it's
they
come.
look good together. And I'm like, how can we replicate this to heal the rest of the world? Like, who do we need to marry? What arranged marriage do we need to cook
Yeah.
up to heal what's going on in America?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it's coming full circle for T Swift and Travis Kelce. They do look happy. I would be interested in just like because they would never record this in a podcast, but I would just want to ask them what weird rich people shit do you both do together? Because Travis Kelce has been a football guy for a while. He's rich. Like he has his own money. You know he's done like all the sexual shit, done all the cars, and Taylor Swift has probably, she's like Travis Kelce times 10. She's done
Yeah.
literally everything you could think of plus a whole nother world that you don't even
Yeah.
know about because they don't show it to people who are less than 100 million or worth less than $100 million. So I would want to
Mhm.
know like what sort of weird shit they were into together. But in terms of healing the world, I do think that we could replicate that with the world's biggest supervillains, so they didn't feel like they had to
Yes.
destroy the world anymore. We could just, give them their
Mhm.
give them their dream girl, but like an arranged
Isn't that like
marriage.
love heals all?
Yeah.
So what we need to do is arrange these marriages for the better, for the good of the world. I think we need we need to find Kim Jong-un a wife. And it needs to make sense. It needs to be like the other half, the missing piece. You know, we've got the dorky girl with the footballer. We need like the missing piece to Kim Jong-un that is not as villainous, you know?
Demi Moore.
Why did that come to your mind?
I don't know. I was just trying to think because
Dolly Parton.
She had Dolly Parton. Yeah, that could be one.
She's so charitable.
For some reason, Demi Moore just popped into my head. I was just like, okay, she's done the
G.I. Jane.
She's done the Ashton Kutcher thing, right? That was a while ago. Now I believe she's single. And she's looking for a man that could take on responsibility. And Kim Jong-un is a guy that is responsible for starving an entire nation of people. So, like, in terms of responsibility, he has a lot. He's done a lot to a lot of
people. Busy stealing food from people. He's very busy.
And I do think Demi Moore has a little bit of a dark side. You look at her and you go, she could be, you know, she could play a supervillain in a movie. She could be Kim Jong-un. I see her as a person who could slap Kim Jong-un and he wouldn't have her killed.
And he kind of likes it.
Yeah, he'd be like, you're so
right. You're onto something.
Yeah.
You need to have a little zest, little bit of like strength behind that.
She has some edge to her. Like you couldn't match Kim Jong-un with like an Amanda Siegfried. She's like, she doesn't have enough of that dark side to her. Demi Moore to me seems like she could tap into, you know, I'm towing the line of evil with one of the most evil people in the world.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. We should get together with our friend Dennis Rodman and really talk this over, actually. I was going to meet up with him later, so I'll maybe call you while I'm there. We can Zoom chat with Dennis. And
if you're hanging out with Dennis Rodman, if you're ever hanging out with Dennis Rodman or anyone else like that, I'm getting on a plane immediately. Fuck face. I'll be so pissed if you FaceTime me with Dennis Rodman and you knew ahead of time you're going to see him. I'd be like, I will drop $5,000 on a last second plane ticket right now to hang out with Dennis Rodman and Kim Jong-un and Demi Moore now. Now Demi Moore is part of the crew.
We've dragged her into it. So we have like a superhero group basically between all 5 or 6 of us.
Could you imagine how confused people would be by that photo on Instagram if Dennis Rodman shared a photo and it's Kim Jong-un, Dennis Rodman, Demi Moore, and us two, and we're all just like
do like randoms.
We're all just hanging out at a dinner, and people are like, "What the fuck?"
It'll be the new version of the photos from years ago when it was like Kanye West and Pete Davidson and Kid Cudi and Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah,
when they all went out to dinner, people were like, well, "Why are they all together?"
Yeah.
This is the new version of that, except heightened.
I'm into this. I want to do more dictator matchmaking. I think we should. Why is there's Jewish matchmaking, there's Indian matchmaking on Netflix. We need a dictatorship matchmaking show.
We all need love.
Yeah.
And we want to heal. Love heals all. I feel so confident in this plan.
Who's next? Stalin?
Well,
oh no, wait, he's dead.
Well, he's
Putin.
dead. Putin. I mean, we can dig him up. He'll look like that alien on the last podcast.
Yeah, we'll prop him up. Wait, Stalin was the one right before Putin, right? So he's probably still fresh. He's still fresh. He's not completely decomposed.
Yeah, maybe a little meat on those bones.
Yeah, but Putin, we have to find someone for Putin so he stops the war.
Putin also needs somebody like. I'm thinking like somebody like physically tough, like
Lizzo.
Because all
Can you imagine?
I mean, she is pretty tough. I mean,
she would be able to body him for sure. I feel like
that's true.
For whatever reason,
that'd be the funniest matchup ever.
For whatever reason, I see Putin, and I see him on the horse, and I see him just flexing. I feel like he needs a big booty bitch to keep him in line. Like you can't like Demi
Yeah.
Moore is not going to cut it for Putin. Kim Jong-un, yes, but
Yeah.
Putin needs like someone that can
You
just
need
like
somebody like a little more sturdy, you know?
he does jujitsu. He does he does all these martial arts too. He shoots guns. Kim Jong Un is not really as physical as Putin, so Putin needs someone that could body him.
No, I'm just Googling the strongest woman in the world right now.
Maybe a
I'm
Ronda
like,
Rousey. I feel like Putin would be into Ronda
wait,
Rousey.
That's really good. They actually look like, you know, when you look at a couple and you're just like, they look like a good pair.
Yeah.
That's what I get from Ronda Rousey and Putin. I'm like, they look like a cute couple.
Yeah.
You know, and I think together they could have something beautiful.
And she would strike legitimate fear into
Yeah.
Putin's heart. If he said he was going to pull out of Ukraine and he didn't, Ronda Rousey would put him in a triangle choke and just fucking hold him there until he made the call and had his generals pull out. Like she would just like fucking they could be in the middle of sex and Putin would be like, I'm actually thinking about staying in Ukraine, and she would just fucking like clench her cheeks and just use it to like rip his cock off and be like, I'll do it if you don't hold your word. And he's like, all right, I'll do it. Not my cock.
I bet her Kegel muscles are probably so strong. You can't possibly be like that strong and forget about those muscles.
She could probably rip an encyclopedia in half with her pussy.
I want to watch that.
Yeah.
I bet Lizzo probably already did watch that in Amsterdam.
Yeah, she was feeding encyclopedias to the backup dancers out of her pussy.
Yeah. Maybe that's what happened to Brittany Griner all along. Was like Putin was like, you know what I need is like a 7-foot tall athlete.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out, unfortunately, for them. And thankfully we have Miss Brittany back here. She also was a lesbian, so that was probably a little bit problematic for their romance. But
yeah, those don't exist in Russia. Putin didn't know what she was.
Yeah, it was like, what word is that?
Yeah, he's like,
there's no translation from lesbian to Russian.
Yeah, he's like, lesbian. What country is lesbian? I've never heard. Are you lesbianic? I've never heard of you.
Just thought she's from Lebanon all that time.
Yeah.
Like she's Lebanese.
Yeah. Lesbianese, you say? I've
been there before.
Yeah.
Beautiful country.
Yeah. That was her cover story. Brittany Griner's like, look, Vladimir, I didn't expect to be into you. I'm a basketball player from the United States. I'm not even attracted to guys, but you got me.
Give it a go.
And Putin's like, all right, what's our cover story going to be? And then he's like, all right, I got it. I'll make you a war prisoner. And then when we agree that it's time to go back to our places, when the romance flames out, we'll just let you go. That's very plausible.
Yeah. No, it actually is plausible. That's the worst part.
The whole time she's just like, they're posting one photo a day. They have her get behind a jail cell and she's like, please help. And then she just like immediately goes on a private jet to dinner with Putin. She's just living it up.
While her wife is like crying at home.
Yeah.
She's eating like the best dinner of her life.
Yeah, exactly. Look, maybe they're in an open relationship. Maybe they're in a dictatorial open relationship where they're like, look, you can't sleep with anyone unless he's the dictator of another country. And she just happened to be in the right situation.
Listen, we don't kink shame on this podcast.
Yeah.
So if that's what they like, that's what they like.
Yeah. Well, speaking of shame, if we want to get into one more, or it depends how long this takes. Let's go for it. A shameless influencer, Deja Blackwell, was arrested during the Philly riots, and she begged fans for cash as a welcome home gift, saying, quote, I want to treat myself. So I don't know if you've been keeping up with the riots in Philly and just that whole mall.
I didn't know are they still going on?
So the police presence.
I thought this was like weeks ago. I saw something. I've heard nothing since.
So apparently this is still going on. This is from the New York Post, like either yesterday or Wednesday. So a couple of days ago, but apparently there have just been waves of rioters in Philly, and a bunch of stores are closing down, and this is part of the reason because there was a huge one in this mall area, and it was like Apple, Lululemon, like everything, and they had a policy. This isn't part of the story, but I was just reading some other articles. They had a policy of a lot of these stores tell their employees to not stop any looters, and some of the ones that actually the employees that stood up to the looters and were like, hey, fucking stop taking our yoga pants, they got fired for stopping,
Damn.
like trying to stand up for the store. So like there's a lot of controversies going on with the Philly riots, with employee relationships, the looting in
Gotcha.
general. But this one girl stood out, Deja Blackwell, and the story reads, she may end up with the perfect prison pedicure. The shameless influencer arrested and charged with 6 felonies for her part in this week's Philadelphia riots. She has like 200,000 followers, by the way. So she's apparently been live streaming riots since like 2020.
She's viral.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
She's begging fans for cash to hire a lawyer and to pay to get her toes painted. Deja Blackwell, who goes by, quote, Meatball, took to Instagram. Yeah, Meatball. What she kind of looks like if I'm being 100%
like a Jersey Short, like a meatball.
Yeah.
Like Snooki.
Her figure is meatballish. I'll say that. So the nickname's true. She took to Instagram live to not only give her side of the story, but to plug her Cash App handle for fans to send her money as a welcome home gift. And so she was like all over Instagram, live streaming the looting, just like doing like what influencers do, like on a selfie stick when they're doing makeup, or like you put down a tripod and you do like some sort of tutorial. She's doing that, but she's setting it up, and she's like, all right, checking the camera, and she's like, all right, now I'm gonna go loot. And so she's like talking to the camera, and you see her like run into the store, and then everyone's like, oh my God. And then she comes back, and she'll just like talk to the camera for 30 seconds and then be like, all right,
like,
I'm
so
going back. Yeah. Exactly. I think this is one reason how we know society is starting to end, if not completely over already, is that when people start donating to the GoFundMe of looters to do self-care. So like when people start looting stores, and then they go on Instagram and they're like, I need a pedicure, I'm thinking of doing a sauna cold tub tomorrow,
Can't you just loot that too?
I'm getting my nails painted. Exactly. Like when people actually start like looking at the GoFundMe and then say, I'll throw her $20, she seems like she's working hard for the looting. That is
$20 for the content.
Yeah, that's how we know when society is over. When we start funding self-care for professional looters.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, listen, I'm not looting anything, but if you want to send me money to jump the turnstiles at the subway, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll never pay a subway fare again.
Yeah.
And I will film it all.
I'm just thinking now, this goes back to what we were originally talking about with the workout apps and having someone kidnap you and then force you to work out for you to get into shape. Looting is such a great workout when you think about it, because she obviously
endurance
was
there.
not in shape enough not to get caught by the popo. If you want to get in shape, loot a Lululemon and fucking get out of there with 30 pounds of merch in your hands. You're getting upper body strength. You're getting cardio from running from the police, and you just upgraded your wardrobe, and you don't have to ask for GoFundMe because you have the merchandise. She got caught, and now she's on GoFundMe being like, I'm not that good at it, so I need more money.
Yeah. The final level of like looting is IKEA, like where you have to go to IKEA and just run around like the maze as fast as you possibly can and collect as many items as you can.
Yeah.
That's like the boss level on looting.
If I'm ever most wanted on that most wanted list in America, I'm just gonna go to the kitchen section in IKEA because I have no idea. I don't know how to get there. Like I end up in places in IKEA where I'm like I don't know where I am right now, and I don't know how to get out. And
I swear every time I'm there, I swear I go through like an employee only access door.
yeah, like
I'm like, how did I get here?
you're just in Narnia, but they're selling Swedish meatballs. So you're just like, am I in IKEA? Did I go through the portal? Where the fuck
I'm
am I?
definitely looting my ice cream cones as well that they sell there.
100%.
On my way out. No, I
Yeah.
pay for the ice cream. I loot the rest.
Yeah, 100%. So Deja Blackwell, she actually had bigger things in mind. So she raided, one of the stores she raided was an Apple store. And on her live stream, she sort of set up her little iPhone. And then she was heard screaming, running into the store, free iPhones, free iPhones. And if you need donations after you loot an Apple store, you suck at looting.
Yeah.
All you have to do to pay off rent for a month is just grab like one item
Well, she
from
needs
an
a
Apple
partner.
store.
She needs a partner in crime.
Yeah.
She is the hitman. She does not know how to do the business part, right?
No.
Like we need to find this meatball partner in crime because she only knows how to do the dirty work. She doesn't know, once she's got the goods, she's like, now what? That's what she's missing, her perfect match. And that is someone that knows how to do business.
Possibly Vladimir Putin. I mean, she's a big booty hoe, and Putin needs someone to toss him around. She's clearly good at making content. So, out of all the other looters who are throwing up live streams, she's the one who made it through to New York Post and all the articles. So, look, I want to donate to looters who will grab all the merchandise, but then be able to run out of there to split the profits with me. If I'm gonna invest in you, kind of like I'm betting on a horse, I'm like, we gotta fucking we're winning this race. I need you to put in work and swipe those iPhones and fucking get the fuck out of there. So maybe she does need a partner to help her out, because right now she's coming in last in the horse race. She's like the one, like all the other horses cross, and then you think the race is over, but you see another horse that's just dying on the track that doesn't even finish.
Yeah, I recently, speaking of looting an Apple store, and she might have been there, but I recently saw a video. I'd have to look it up. I don't know where it was, but it was a video of people looting an Apple store, and then once they were running out, they were like, "Wait, these things are tracking us because it's a fucking iPhone. Of course, they're tracking wherever the iPhone goes." So then they just started throwing them on the ground and smashing them. And I'm like, so at what point, you didn't think this through at all?
Yeah.
You should probably not loot basically a tracking device.
Yeah.
And then smash it. Now you can't sell it. So yeah, so more people need to join this, because the hitmen don't know what they're doing. They only know how to do the task. They don't understand the planning. We really need some planners for this.
If you're a looter out there listening to this podcast, can you please put out a masterclass on looting? Because we have some people that are struggling, to
get into the profession.
Yeah, there's master classes from Tarantino, master classes from Stephen King. We got all of the arts, and looting is an art. And if you're out there, put out a masterclass on it. There are people that want to loot, but they're just not ready to go to the level of doing it in person in a store. They still need a mentor. They still need to be a young grasshopper. They need a Mr. Miyagi of the looting profession. And so we need someone to step up who hasn't gotten caught and just be like, look, this is how you loot a fucking Apple store, and you walk away with 100 iPhones.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they don't realize you really need to be an entrepreneur here. Not only do you need to do parkour in these stores, you need to be an athlete to run in there. You need to have tunnel vision with your targets. You need to you jumping over tables. You're running through coat racks. I mean, you're getting in and out with as much of the goods as you can. And then you need to know the business side of like, now, how do I flip these items without getting arrested? So we really do need a master class because there's so much to this in order to be a successful looter.
We need American Ninja Warrior looting version. We need to have a game show where we need to find the country's best looter, even internationally. Let's make it like America's Got Talent. There's one for every country. I think we need a game show where instead of just running over bodies of water and swinging from handles for nothing, you're doing it for iPhones. You're doing it for yoga pants. You're doing it for cabinets. You're doing it for your life. You're setting up your life in your new apartment, and you need some merchandise to steal. So I think we do need some sort of something that helps America acquire wealth and get in shape. And I feel like the best combination of that is American Looting Warrior, where we just set up obstacles for people. We don't tell the businesses because that would take all the fun out of it. It would make it less realistic. We take care of all the damages after. We'll be like, look, where this show is an NBC show. We have unlimited budget.
Yeah.
Whatever your damages and losses are, we'll double it. We'll just give you twice.
Traumas as well.
Yeah. You sign up for the show, and then anytime in the next 12 months, your store can be looted. So you have no idea. You just know it's going to happen, but you don't know exactly when. And then boom, that's when you have it. And then the people who don't get caught, the people who are like swinging, we set up obstacles ahead of time. We go in, we have like booby traps and trap doors, and we have monkey bars on the ceiling. And then we truly find out who the American looting champion is. I think that's a great, just family style game show.
We've basically come up with a whole new TV network in this episode. We have villain matchmaking, and now we have this, the Looting Warrior show.
Oh yeah, Breaking Takes TV is gonna take off. It's gonna be a big thing, and if you guys don't get in now, you're just gonna get left behind.
If you don't invest now, shame on you. You're gonna wish you did.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this and we hear or see any of these ideas on TV without our permission, we'll loot you. We'll loot your home. We'll loot your store. We'll kidnap you. And that's just what's going to happen if you steal our identity,
that's right.
our intellectual property.
That's right. I'm going to tie you up. I'm going to take you back to my $300 million penthouse. And you're going to never be seen again because that's what I'm capable of.
Subscribe to breakingtakes.supercast.com for bonus episodes. I'm still going to tie you up and possibly murder your family, but subscribe first. So that way, if something does come out and record an episode about you, then you'll be able to listen on premium.
Yeah. Good PSA. I'm glad you put that in there. We want you to know, we don't want you to go into this completely unaware.
Yeah. So what are you feeling? Should we get into one more, or we're at like an hour 17 now?
We can get into one more quickly because it's just it is a quick story. So the headline is British Airways pilot admits to coke-fueled romp before trying to fly.
Okay.
And we love stories like this. I mean, come on.
Absolutely.
So to read more, a British Airways pilot partied his face off in Africa before trying to hit the skies less than 24 hours later. Thankfully, though, he was reported by a friend and then ultimately fired as well. But Mike Beaton reportedly spilled the beans to a flight attendant friend of his a few weeks ago after a wild night out in Johannesburg, which is South Africa, I believe. This was during a brief grounded period that he was enjoying before he was scheduled to fly the following day. In texts obtained by The Sun, Beaton bragged about a hot hookup he experienced with a Welsh woman, which was full of cocaine, booze, and sex. Beaton wrote, "I've lost my shirt somewhere," and one of the local lads produces a plate with a few lines of coke. So then there's a debate about whose chest is best to do a bump off. And I read more into the text. It was between him and one of the like hot girls they were with. So we probably know who won that. I have a feeling there was coke done off of some titties in Johannesburg that night.
I love a good below titty.
Exactly. So crazy enough, though, Beaton tried boarding his flight the next day and was attempting to fly back to London. But his friend ratted him out. They halted everything. They kept him in South Africa for drug testing. That obviously didn't go well. And then they fired him and, well, they flew him back to London via economy class and then fired him.
That is the worst part of this whole story, economy class.
No, exactly. I mean, can you imagine flying on cocaine? I mean, you're sky high. All I know is if my pilot's on cocaine, I'm not showing up late to my destination.
Yeah.
That plane is flying faster than ever through the air.
I wish more of my pilots were on cocaine, especially United Airlines. You need to start giving cocaine to your pilots.
Right?
Mandatory.
Like, back this motherfucking thing up.
Yeah.
Let's get off the air. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's get off the ground.
Yeah. I want my pilot to, first of all, if you're doing cocaine the night before, please continue. I don't want you coming down while you're flying. I want you to be like, you're either coked up or you're not.
Well, it could have been. Like, I don't know the times, but at night, I mean, I think he was doing coke, like 3 a.m.
Okay.
If he has a 6 a.m. flight, that's right around the corner. He's still coked up.
So, yeah, I not only do I want, like, I don't care if coke is in your system, but, like, if it is, I don't want you coming down. I want you to keep the cocaine, the spree going while you're piloting the plane. I don't want you having a panic attack because you started thinking about thoughts again while you're flying. I want you fucking lockjawed, locked in, like you're dodging. The
flight attendants there just like giving him coke.
Yeah. She's fucking lines up right on her titty. She's just lying down on the controls.
Gotta be titty.
You're not even blinking. You're just fucking right off a titty, and you look back, just dodging a pigeon. Like don't get me wrong, like you're flying upside down because your confidence level is so high. You start doing maneuvers you never would have tried, but you're getting there quickly. Whether the plane lands in one piece or not, you're approaching your destination rapidly.
Yeah, you land and you're like, as a passenger, you're like, he shaved like 2 hours off my flight. I love this guy.
Yeah.
Can he fly every flight? Like, I want to know his flight schedule just to be with this guy.
Yeah. And the co-pilot goes, yeah, it was a 20-hour flight to Australia. We usually do it in 2 shifts. And he didn't leave the cockpit once. And the co-pilot just walks into the cockpit. This dude's just grinding his jaw.
Yeah, like white knuckling.
Come on, Sydney. We're almost there. Let's go.
Yeah. No, I thought it was like, you know what? As long as he gets me to my destination and shaves a couple hours off my trip, like the more cocaine, the better, I guess.
Yeah. Uppers, I don't have a problem with if you're a pilot. If you told me you were on shrooms or you were drinking LSD, that I'd be worried for my life. But if you're drinking an orange juice and Adderall, or you're, bumping a cocaine, you're fucking what's another, if you're doing caffeine lines, like you're so addicted to caffeine, you don't even drink coffee anymore. You're just breaking pills open with caffeine and just fucking banging lines off the dash. I don't mind you paying more attention. That's good for me.
Exactly. So now they fired him. I don't understand why. It's so crazy that they would do that. So also, there was a plot twist at the end. They said last but not least, he was also married. So he's got some baggage to clean up, some explaining to do, about like, why are you doing coke off titties, and trying to fly around the country in record time.
Well, if his wife leaves him, then she might be a good match for Kim Jong-un or Putin or someone else. I don't know what his wife is like, but she's probably on the market now. And she's dated a guy who's a coke fiend, so chances are she likes to party. She
Yeah.
she probably has enough energy for Putin or Kim Jong.
I believe it. I believe it. And the best part is, like, if you look at this guy, he looks like a British person. Like, he just looks like a dorky British guy. And so I love hearing that he was just up all night, like, doing coke off titties, having the time of his life.
Yeah.
And British Airlines ruined it for all.
Yeah. They just had to come in and be parents when, could have just let the kids play.
Yeah. I imagine there are a lot of, especially flight attendants, being high as fuck on the job. But I can't say that that's not happened for pilots, you know?
Oh, no. I just want to be there for the announcement. Like when he announces
They're definitely turning the music on when you land.
Yeah, the cockpit's just blasting Avicii every time he makes an announcement. In the background, you just hear da na 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 na. And normally pilots are so smooth. They come on and they're like, "Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We got about a 4-hour flight time today looking at the St. Louis, and it's about 72 degrees on the ground. We'll have you down there in 3 hours and 30 minutes. It's not a big deal getting you in 30 minutes early. That's the only time I'm early, though." Haha. And just makes a joke and hangs up. And then the Coke pilot just puts on the intercom right before they land, and he just goes, "Holy fucking fuck. Woo! We're coming into St. Louis hot, bitches. Let's 3 more mimosas and keep them coming every minute until I pass the fuck out. We're coming in hard. Who's ready to suck some titties? Let's go." And then he just hangs up. Half the plane is like a children's trip to Disney, and all the parents are like, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah.
One random dad that's just like a frat bro is just like, "Woo!" And everyone's just everyone's
his wife
staring
is
at
like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's always funny to me when I get on a plane and the music is playing, like literally the radio's playing. That always signifies that your pilot is like probably on coke, because I forget that planes even have a radio, because it's never on. So when you're on it, you're like, okay, my pilot is feeling himself today.
Yeah.
Like we're getting where we need to be. He's having a good day, he or she.
Apparently the planes are so good now where you basically just need human control for takeoff and landing, and it's not even that much anymore. And then when you're cruising in midair, you're just fucking like, this one person's awake on the off chance something happens, but you're just fucking cruising straight shot to wherever you need to go.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the pilot is the one person that can easily get away with it, because about, like, I don't know, 3 out of 10 flights, I actually see the pilot. Like, they'll come out when we're all exiting the plane and kind of just stand there and like, thank you or whatever. Usually you don't even see them. Like, you just hear their voice every now and again, maybe, and then that's that. You never see them board the plane. You don't see them leave the plane. They could very easily be on anything.
Do you think that when there is a female pilot, they play a man's voice recorded so people don't freak out on the plane? Because I feel like there's just so little female pilots that half the plane would just be like, "What the fuck was that? Like, who's flying us to Dallas?"
They would just assume it was a flight attendant.
Yeah,
they'd be like,
exactly.
"Okay, I guess the flight attendant delivered that message to me."
Yeah, like they don't even, the female pilots don't even want to deal with it, so they just ask Paul, their co-pilot, to like, "Hey, can you say this into my iPhone so I could just play this every time so no one asks any questions?"
No, that's a good point. I mean, you're right. Like, I actually don't think, I know what you're about to say. I don't think I've been on a plane that was flown by a female pilot. Not that I know of.
But I
So,
know they're definitely
yeah,
female pilots. That's what makes me think,
absolutely.
like, do they just play pre-recorded guys'
Right?
voices so no one's like, holy shit, are we gonna?
There's actually more female pilots than male, and that's why I only see the pilots 3 out of every 10 flights. It's because
Yeah.
it's actually a woman that they just like usher out. She like changes her outfit real quick and then
Yeah.
just leaves the plane.
She puts on her stewardess outfit. She's just like, bye. I actually flew the plane, but I don't want to say it because
Yeah,
people freak
no.
out.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a good point. I really haven't. I don't fly too much, but I've never been on a plane with a female pilot that I know of.
Yeah, look, if you're a female pilot out there and you're listening to this podcast, we'll record an episode with you on Breaking Takes because we wanna hear like the wild shit of the pilot's world and what it's like being
Definitely.
a female pilot. Because I'm not joking when I say I don't think I've been on a single flight with a female pilot, co-pilot. I've never haven't seen it. So breakingtakes.supercast.com. We'll do a premium episode with a female pilot. Let us know. There's a 0.0001% chance that female pilot even is listening to this podcast or exists apparently because unless they're swapping out the male voice. But breakingtakes.supercast.com if you're out there and you want to have a conversation.
Indeed. Yeah. Like, subscribe, review. Check us out. Number 2 on the Apple Podcast. You'll find us there.
100%. Did we do we talked about the most recent review last time, right?
Yes. Gay
Okay.
Curly Q, unless there's another one.
Yeah, so there were more ratings, but not more comments. So people, thank you for rating. We appreciate it on
Yeah.
Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you want us to talk about your reviews after the podcast, leave a written review on Apple Podcasts because I don't believe Spotify lets you leave a written review, just a rating.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it on the podcast, no matter what it is, where we'll bring it up, however many stars, whatever you say, we'll wear it. And we'll just look at ourselves in the mirror and say, we'll be honest with ourselves. So thank you so much, guys, for listening. breakingtakes.supercast.com for bonus episodes. Rate us on Apple and Spotify. Tell a friend, tell a pilot, tell a mom, tell a dictator. And we'll see you next time.
Yep. See you next time.
Peace.